I hope he stays because I just think for the Premier League he's brilliant and you'd want the best managers in the Premier League.
If the charges come out and they get punished, will he leave or will he stay?
No, if they're guilty, I think he stays.
Yeah.
You lot think I'm going to go. If City are in the Championship, City are in League One, League Two, whatever, I'm doing it.
No chance.
That's the short.
Hello and welcome along to the Wayne Rooney Show. We've got a bit of a different episode for you today. We spend a lot of time, don't we, talking about Manchester United, but we're actually going to focus in on the blue half of Manchester today and have a deep dive on Manchester City. But before we go any further, I'm going to let you know this was recorded before City played Fulham. We're also going to be joined by two guests today, so welcome along to former player Michael Brown and from the Let Me Talk podcast, David Mooney. Wayne, let's start with what you've made of City's season.
Yeah, a bit hit and miss. If you like, I think a big thing for City is if Haaland's fit and scoring goals. But it hasn't been the football which we've seen, I think, over the last 3 or 4 years. I think that's the main thing, what you associate Pep Guardiola's style of play. I don't think it's been that, but they're still there, they're still hanging around. So you never write them off, for sure. Yeah,
they are still hanging around, aren't they? Brownie, title challenge looked to be off, didn't it? And it's back on. It must be getting a bit dizzy.
I've got to be careful. I'm surrounded by a couple of Man United for sort of massive fans, and to be in the situation of sort of on, off, inconsistent, away from home, really struggled. Erling Haaland still keeps getting talked about. Even Wayne bringing it up there to sort of say, do you know, when he's not firing, who's going to score the goals if he's not dominating at the top of the pitch? But I think the Liverpool game, I think when that happens late on, it sort of just sends a little message. Arsenal already have been questioned in regards to have they got the mettle, have they got the understanding to go all the way? So it's back on for now, but let's see.
David, I can tell you don't quite want to say it's back on. Is it back on?
Well, this is it. It's like if you were to sit here and tell me now that City have won the title at the end of the season, I could believe you. Like they're really they're in it. They're in the mix. But it's maybe not as, like Wayne's right. It's not the same City team that used to go on runs at the end of seasons to see off, you know, a challenge from Arsenal, a challenge from Liverpool. So, like, maybe it's about who is like the least imperfect in the running, whether Arsenal can get over the line or whether City just keep battering at the door and just keep getting over the line in those sorts of games. And like as Michael says, the Liverpool game, that I mean, the feeling after that is huge. Like the way that they won the game, to come from behind at a stadium where they've won once in 20 odd years, it just gives everybody a belief that maybe wasn't there, or maybe they were looking for and they found it.
How much has January helped in terms of the signings that were made?
Not too bad signings, are they? Mark Gay was the one, I think, that looked like Liverpool had him all the way. I think Liverpool have been good with their recruitment when they've tracked people and then they've made their mind up and they've got them. But then it dragged on and the City had to make the decision. John Stones has been struggling all season, losing Josko Vardiol, Ruben Diaz, and they felt like that was one of the areas. And you look at the full-backs as well. Aït-Nouri's came in, but he's not played. Nunez in at right-back still needs to get a little bit better. Understandably, he's a midfield player. So they've went and spent wisely. I think he's a great signing. I think he'll fit the way Pep wants to go. I just looked at him. He was cute. You know how he plays. He makes a couple of fouls when he needs to. He's brave on the ball. And when you're leaving him and you're trying to play a high line, I think he's good. He sees the danger into the full-back positions and then the pace on that back foot of City in transition, trying to play quicker. Semenyo, I think he can play either side. I think it's been really good for them.
Yeah, it does feel like they kind of went out and picked two of the best performing players in the Premier League, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Mark Gahey in particular, I think he's like number one on the England team sheet in defence. Like if you're looking at defenders, he's the first name you're looking at, I think. Solid at the back, and I think he's massive as well in the dressing room. I think he's a massive leader and stuff as well. So I think it's a massive coup because Liverpool really wanted him, didn't they? And it was like the deadline they nearly had him, and to get him away from Liverpool is just it's insane.
He slotted in quick, hadn't he? I thought he was brilliant against Liverpool. I thought he was City's best player against Liverpool. And what I really like about him is his passes through the lines, getting into the midfielders, getting them turned on the ball. And I think at times City do play a little bit slow, and but what I liked about him the other day is he's pinging balls through the lines, breaking midfield.
He plays it forward, doesn't he?
Plays
Into somebody rather than just square.
And then that gets them, whether they get an overload on the top line. So I think he's a big fan.
His performance against Macclesfield just got him over the line, didn't it? Just got him there, that convinced City to take him all the way.
I think he checked out at that point, maybe.
Said, there you go, come on, we'll take him.
Was that what City really needed to do to bolster the defence? Does it go back?
A player that lost to Macclesfield.
Take that out of it. Maybe look at his other achievements.
No, they were in a real tight spot with the defence. Stones has been I absolutely love John Stones, but he just hasn't been available. He's been injured for a very long time. The injuries to Diaz and Guardiola were creating a very good partnership. Both got injured in the same game against Chelsea. And it was kind of a bit of a scramble round to work out who was going to play where in the back four for the next few weeks, and that has to have had an effect on the form at that point. At that point, they, I think, in the next game they drew with Brighton, and then not long after that was the derby, where it was just not a good, solid City performance. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that the back four has had this upheaval of a partnership that was doing really well. So Mark Gahey's come in, he's added a lot of experience, and he's hit the ground running. And you certainly see with Kusanov, for instance. Kusanov I absolutely love him. I think he's a brilliantly, he's a really good aggressive defender. Perhaps too aggressive in moments where he dives in.
He was out the other day, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Snoring.
But throws himself into challenges, and he's worked well with Gahey. Diaz comes back in for the end of the Liverpool game when Kusanov has to go off with a concussion injury, and he's slotted in perfectly well. So he's building partnerships at the back there that are keeping City a lot more solid than they've been in recent weeks.
What about Antoine Semenyo then? Because he was brilliant at Bournemouth, wasn't he? And he straight away scored goals, which I'm sure you're going to tell us, Wayne, that helps when you score pretty quick. Yeah,
no, of course he started really well, hasn't he, for City, and. The only worry I'd have if I was a wide player for City is the amount of rotation that Pep has. He rotates them wide players a lot, doesn't he? And so to consistently play. But City's coming, he's played every game.
Well, he can come in as well, and you can name the team sheet, and it looks like Semenyo's wide, and then suddenly he's actually playing centrally. Yeah. And that's a big weapon for City to have. I think the thing with Semenyo, he obviously doesn't know the patterns, and he doesn't know kind of how City are trying to attack at the moment. So he comes in and out of games right now, but he's scoring goals at the same time. So if you're kind of still adapting, but you are scoring goals, then the future's surely going to be really bright.
What about Marmoush? Do you know when you say about rotation?
Yeah.
I'm still thinking where do we get him in?
Well, what about Foden? I haven't seen him.
I've done match of the day, and I spoke about it on there. Haaland was, because of Marmoush's position, Haaland was coming more into a number 10 position, and that's the last place you want there now. You want him on the back line, and but because Marmoush was making runs in behind, then Haaland found himself in a number 10 position. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because if you've got Erling Haaland, you have to just have him occupying the back line. And then you think the likes of Foden or players coming in behind them.
Because what they did when Haaland wasn't there, this split,
yeah.
Semenyo and Marmoush, two wider ones on the outside centre-backs, but can Haaland go and be one of them to get two at the top? But you're thinking he has to be more of the... Can he learn that, though? Do you know, to actually split?
He's still, of course.
He'll still be on the back line.
But then, for me, you just want Erling Haaland as close to the goal as possible, because he's a goal scorer. And you can try different things and different... We played that way for England against Switzerland with me and Welbeck as split strikers. And Raheem Sterling played as a number 10, but he was the more central one. And as good as it is, that's more of a shape. I think Chelsea done it a bit to stop Arsenal. It's more of a shape to stop the opposition. Where if you've got Haaland, you just want him in front of that goal to score goals. That's where he's more effective, I think.
It does feel like it's been a big debate again, hasn't it, about Erling Haaland, because he hasn't of late been scoring as many goals as we've become accustomed to.
There's a real paradox with City where they've changed Ederson for Donnarumma, and Donnarumma doesn't have the same sort of passing and build-up as Ederson did. But you look at some of the saves he's made, and I don't want to rubbish what Ederson achieved at City. He's a fantastic player for City. But there's been some saves that I'm thinking maybe Ederson doesn't make that. And then at the other end, you've got Haaland, who doesn't really get involved in the build-up and can't really do the build-up as well as previous City strikers, but scores a lot of goals. And they're trying to play this style where you've got a goalkeeper who will pass it out and a striker who will get involved, but neither of them are really good at that. But they're both doing their job really well, and so you get this debate all the time about which is better and which is more effective. And the answer is maybe neither of them. Maybe they're both just effective, and Guardiola will have to just find a way to get Haaland involved. We'll just have to find a way to, as Wayne says, keep Haaland up there, do the build-up without him, and get the ball to him.
I think you have to have him in your team. You have to have him just in the middle of the goal. If you try and take him away from that, then you're taking his game away from him.
He will start. He will start when he's available, because you don't. If you're City, you don't give him a 10-year contract and put in this is our guy for the next decade, and then go, actually we're better without him in the team. That makes no sense
Kelly,
whatsoever.
You asked the question, don't you, about Haaland and the stats of late. Are you surprised that he still gets that?
I'd like to know, it's not me saying he shouldn't be starting.
No, I'm saying, but that is that's the talk, isn't it? As soon as he has a little run with not scoring, then it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
The talking point comes is
we've become used to him scoring every game.
Yeah, because
if I was a manager and I could pick a centre forward from anywhere in the world, it'd be Haaland.
And pretty much any manager 100%. Would say that as well, wouldn't they?
No, and people might say Mbappe or, just
Harry He still Kane, gets criticism, doesn't he?
Whatever.
Yeah, people talk about how many touches he gets and stuff, and I find that baffling when they're like, you only touch the ball X amount of times. You're like, yeah, but if he's scoring, who cares how many times?
Touches it going in the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if he touches the ball 4 times and it's 3 goals, who gives it? Who gives it?
But as you want him in your team. He's an animal. You've seen the size of him, how quick he was. When run past time, Soboslai's not slow as well. And he's just absolutely burnt him. He's an animal. And listen, forwards go through phases where they don't score and whatever. But I just think, going back to the Liverpool game, what happens at the end of that game, you could see the release in him. So I think the next few games, or this back end of the season, I think you've got to be careful and watch out for him.
There's going to be a few players that City will need to kind of look to. Erling Haaland. What about Phil Foden? Because he had that real purple patch. You were shaking your head already.
I was like, what's happened to him? Yeah, what's up? Like,
he was brilliant, wasn't he, for a few months? And we thought we'd got the Phil Foden that we've seen before.
Yeah, he really struggled last season, and it was like going away to the Club World Cup, fresh air, USA. Everything was like a fresh start. Came back at the start of this season, was very slowly reintroduced into the fold, and then suddenly everything looked fine, and it was fantastic. He was fit and firing again. And in the last few weeks, it's like it hasn't really clicked, and it's not for the want of trying. You take the Carabao Cup tie against Newcastle, the second leg. He was throwing himself around that pitch, and he was leaving a foot in and really getting stuck in, and it just wasn't happening for him. Like the ball wouldn't stick, or the pass would be a yard short or a yard long, or like there would just be something that was a little bit off, and it's almost like. Guardiola talks about him all the time as, he's our Phil, he's like my son, he's like all that sort of language, and I just feel like Guardiola's being very careful with him. We know he had issues last season that really got into stopping him from playing.
Why is he being careful with him though? I don't think that's the case. I really don't, because I just feel he was back, he was flying, then he's underperformed slightly, and then the manager reacts, and I don't think Phil reacts that well to that. Do you know, from when he's taken away from it? And I understand the manager has to make the call. Do you know, if he feels like there's others, Ryan Cherky's that flair one as well, who can come inside and play in that position. I felt like he was like, right, he's straight to the England squad, he's going to be ready for the summer, he's going to be the player. He was smiling. You could just see how much he was enjoying his football. And as soon as there's a couple of bad weeks, it's gone from bad to worse, not to get any minutes. As a player, that's hard. Some can deal with it and some can't. I think when Phil has a little bit of a fall away, he finds it tough.
I'd rather see him just playing as a number 10 and staying in that position, because if you look at, even though they're a similar size, if you look at Bernardo Silva or at David Silva when he was there, they could float around the pitch and
But for that reason, I don't hate when City use him wide, because he drifts inside and he can come into the number 10 from a wide position. And I just think at the moment, when we were talking about Semenyo before,
but why does he go from playing every game to hardly having any minutes. Do you know, how does it get to that? There's something there.
That's happened a few times, and Pep.
Do you see what I'm saying? You're in, and then you'd still be coming on and having 20 minutes, and he's gone from not getting any minutes. But this is the point. There's something that between what the manager sees in. We don't always know everything, right? There's certain things he could be carrying, and not a particular injury that they have to protect. Then he can't get to the level.
I think the way City are playing now as well. City at the minute are not as, what they were a few years ago, where they're playing side to side, they're playing through lines and keeping the ball for long periods. So they've gone a bit more dynamic with Semenyo in there and Cherky when he's coming on. He's a bit more dynamic than what Phil Foden is. So maybe just the way
the irony there is Guardiola spent 5 years drilling into Foden not to be so direct.
But that's the way City are a bit more dynamic now with Doku's in there as well. So they're not keeping the ball.
Doku's got the freedom to do that.
As much.
So you're saying they want more physicality now, and he probably doesn't.
Well, it looks like they've gone a bit more. The team's a little bit more physical, a bit more direct in when they get the ball running at defenders with it as well. So maybe that doesn't suit Phil as much as some of the other players.
This is maybe what it is, isn't it? It's a team in transition. What you've just said there, Wayne, says it. You're not playing the way Man City of old were, which brings with it its own kind of problems, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like the phrase in transition though, because what if City are what if this is just the new version of City now? What if City never get back to what they were? So they've definitely changed, but
they've transitioned.
They've transitioned, yeah. But what if the new look version of City isn't anything like what we've seen of it previously? What if this is in this new era of Premier League where we all love long throws apparently, and we love the rough and tumble of it? What if the way that City survive that is by being a bit more imperfect and a bit more direct, rather than the side to side, the control and that element of it? So I'm interested to see where it goes, and I don't know. What I really want to see from Guardiola is what the end version of this City looks like, because he's had very different versions of his City team down the years. The one that got 100 points played nothing like the false nine team that won the title, played nothing like the treble winners in 2023. So what's the next step? And like I said before, you've got Haaland and Donnarumma who don't fit the patterns of anything that's gone before. So what does this look like? I'm really interested to see.
I think teams aren't playing as much as we've seen 5 years ago. Everyone trying to copy what Pep was doing and City were doing, and playing out from the back and taking risk and losing the ball and doing it again. And then what that allowed City, and that's where City were at their best, to go and press from the front and press high and be aggressive, where I think Foden was good at that as well, where you get it because it's easier to defend in front of you than it is behind. So now teams where it's changed slightly, teams going longer and a bit more, and so they're having to run back as well.
But also you look at teams that do want to play that style, and I'm not talking kind of top end Premier League teams. I'm talking mid-range Premier League teams. They're good at it. They're really good at playing out from that pressure. And City can press. And actually, Brighton, Bournemouth, these teams, they can get through you. They can get through and create an attack. And that's then a problem for Guardiola to solve.
Yeah. But I think he's good at working out problems. I think like the first season in particular, when he said when he came here he didn't know what second balls were because he'd never heard of that phrase in Spain, and he quickly worked out what he needed to do in order to get the job done. And I think if he's still there next season, I think City next season will have the answer to a lot of these problems that people are talking about.
And you look at the squad. Yeah, that is a squad that could be phenomenal next season.
But I think the big question is, will he be there next year? That's the.
Let's go with that then, shall we? You can go first.
Go on, then give us come on, you know everything.
I think he will. I think he'll be there next year. I think whatever happens.
That suggests he doesn't.
No, I think whatever happens, I think whether he win the league, I think he's brought players in. He's brought a lot of players in over the last year. So I think he'll want to, try and bring them on and stay with them. And if they don't win the league, I think his ego will say to him, listen, I can't finish with not winning the league or not winning anything, depending on the Champions League as well. But so I think he'll be there.
You're laughing at me.
I'm just laughing because straight away your
reaction
told me you
I just said, do you? Because
disagree.
I thought he might have said, I think he could be gone. That's what surprised me when he said he thinks he'll be there next season.
What do you think, Brandon?
He will want to leave on a trophy. One's coming quickly, isn't it? Against Arsenal. Does that the one sort of, does that enough?
So you're saying that if they
do you know what's going to be huge? is they've got the cup final. Then they play in April. Is
April, Arsenal, yeah.
And do they meet in the quarterfinals?
They could meet in the quarterfinals
So
of
it
the
could be
Champions
4
League.
games.
They could play. I worked this out the other day. They could play. It runs kind of 3 Arsenal games, Chelsea away in the middle of that, and then 2 more Arsenal games if they draw each other in the Champions League. And they could draw each other in the FA Cup that week as well.
Yeah. So that's going to be so important mentally. Whoever comes through that on top, if that's what happens.
We were joking about that, weren't we? About the final. Do you know, does it set the tone? We were sat before we come on, and does that set it to sort of say, right, give you the confidence booster? I feel if the right replacement that the club feels is going to be able to take over from Pep, I don't think anybody really wants to go after Pep, do they? Like Sir Alex Ferguson, etc. But if the right person's there now, I think it's done. I think he will leave at the end of the season. But it's going to be a shame. It's going to be a massive transition. But when he signed a 2-year contract, they weren't never going to put him on one, were they, and get it? So we got till Christmas, and then sort of Pep mentioned it a little bit, so said, I will leave at some point. I hope he carries on and does another year. That's where he is. There's been talk of it for some time now. But who is the next person? And if that's not right, I think he's got a really good understanding with the club that he'll have to stay a little bit longer. Unless he leaves with a wonderful trophy and he says, well, it's not my problem anymore. But the transition is there. They've gone much more direct. Petland is just
I think that's always going to be the case. I think if you say now that they haven't got the right person in the summer,
the right person's always Guardiola.
They're not.
As far as the club are concerned, the right person is always Guardiola.
It's ending, isn't it? So Maresca's there. Talk of him. Do you know, would that be early? Vincent Kompany.
Kompany could be the one.
As soon as there was talk, they give him another contract, didn't they? They give him another contract. It might be 1 year too early. And then the usual suspects from there on.
As far as City are concerned, if Guardiola is open to staying, they'll ask him the question, will you stay? So like he's their number one at all times. So like, I understand wanting the right person in place.
Why would he even say I will leave at some point?
Because it's true.
Why would he? But why would he? He's very good, right, with the media. He understands everything he says. I don't know why he would even. It was never even mentioned. There was talks within.
He gets very excited sometimes.
People in football would sort of go, "We think this is Pep's last year," but no one's really brought it to the front. And then he actually said, "You know, it's going to end at some point." I didn't think he would have said, "Well, I've got 2 years."
Yeah, he does get excited in these moments, and he says things like that all. He said that for a good few years now, and then signed a couple of deals in there as well. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was his last season. I wouldn't be surprised if he signed another deal after this one. Like he is. Well, I'm fantastic at that. He's a sick individual who is addicted to football management, and I can see him. I can see him just going, yeah, go on then. I'll do another 2 years.
How much depends on a trophy? Is it enough?
I think everything. I think yeah.
No,
so they
they
win against Arsenal in the FL Cup final, and that'll be enough for him?
No, not that. I don't think the Carabao Cup will be enough. I think he wants to go out on a league or a Champions League trophy, one of the big ones. But I think, yeah, if you're Pep Guardiola, you can't leave Manchester City without winning a massive trophy. It's ridiculous. He's not Arsene Wenger.
Don't tell the Newcastle fans the FL Cup's not a big trophy.
But he doesn't think like a normal person does, because he could have left in 2023. He could have done that. He could have won the Champions League, won the treble.
But he didn't, though. But that's the point. But I don't think. I think now he has to win something before he leaves. He won't leave.
It's Kelly's favourite topic. Yeah. Manager choice, is it not? Being a Watford fan, is that right? Yeah. Are you sure? Ed Stills came in. Was it Will Still? Which one is it?
I'm not going to be drawn on this.
No, are you sure? Yeah, they got a new one. Ed Stills come in. Yeah. Looking forward to it, aren't you?
This is a Manchester City
they might have to edit that out. There might be a new one by the time they get out.
Yeah.
I think regardless what happens, I think the legacy that Pep's going to leave in this country is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing national teams playing out from the back and stuff, and that's because of what...
Has everyone followed him?
He does.
Did you? Do you know when you went and... Did you like doing...
That's why I got sacked.
No, following Pep?
Yeah.
No, but you know, like the basis of it. Did you
try
think
in certain ways? You try, because if you get it right, it looks so good, doesn't it? And it's amazing that style of football. But then you need to make a decision on, can your players do it? And unfortunately, a lot of my players couldn't. Where what Pep's done, he has brought some top players in, and developed them as well.
Some of the players you'd never have said would have got to the level, would they?
He's developed some players as well, which to be able to play in that style and dominate for so long. I think was it 4 in a row, and I think the big thing for City this year, you're missing Kyle Walker, you're missing De Bruyne, you're missing some really influential players, both on the pitch and off the pitch in that dressing room.
I mean, Wayne's often talked about with like United and said like part of the reason we lost our identity was because the players that knew what it meant to win things were taken out of that squad and there wasn't anybody to show the newer people there. And I feel like, is that something that sort of happened at City to an extent?
I think possibly to an extent, but I mean, you look at like year on year, City have been very good in the last kind of 10 years at year on year slowly regenerating the squad. And then in the last 2 or 3 years, it got to the point last season where it was suddenly, there's so many of these players that can't run, that can't do the things anymore. And January came along and it was a big upheaval, and then they signed a few players in the summer, and then they've signed a couple of players this January as well. And in 3 windows there, they've made more signings than they've made in the years gone by, and it used to be phase 1 out, bring 1 in, phase 1 out, bring 1 in, where it's now kind of phase 4 or 5 out and bring 4 or 5 in. So it is a big change in that respect. And I think, I mean, the one for me, I'd get Nico O'Reilly and get him to watch Bernardo Silva and just go like this. We've seen recently in a few games, Nico O'Reilly stepping into midfield and
he's getting into the position that he needs to be, and he's getting braver actually when he takes the ball.
And he's taking those positions that Bernardo takes up. And I'm just like, but if Bernardo is going to leave at the end of the season, then this guy you need to watch him and see what he's doing.
Wayne, do you know when they say culture, do you know like of when you're Manchester United? So they say it's the DNA of Manchester United. And we're always trying to stay with that. Michael's gone in now and obviously trying to reproduce that. How does City, like when you've watched Manchester United, how does City go and try and follow that Pep method?
If you think of all the teams who've won more than one Premier League trophy, so you think of Chelsea, so in that team you had John Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Peter Cech, they had a core group of players. You think of United when they had the 2 times when really they've done it with Giggs, Scholes, Keane, then the second time with myself, Rio, Vidic, them players. Arsenal, Vieira, Henry. You have a group of players who are there, who the manager won't even have to step foot in the dressing room. They run that dressing room, and then City had it, I think, with De Bruyne,
Gundogan, De Bruyne,
with all them players.
Vinny.
So when you have a solid group in the dressing room, they run it for you. Pep can focus on other things, and then obviously tactically give them what they want. But actually inside the dressing room, he doesn't have to worry. And probably in that 4 times. And then beyond that, you've seen teams who've won it maybe once because they haven't got that core group.
So if Bernardo's going and Pep's going, is it Mark Gay's got to learn it very fast?
Yeah, so they're going to have to
Phil Foden
learn it, and that's what I think City are doing now. They're building, and then they're going to have a core group of players who, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, they might go and win 3 Premier Leagues again, or it might be United if they start building stuff.
But that's why the Phil Foden thing's really disappointing, because he's probably one of the most decorated players at the club right now.
In the history of the Premier League.
It's ridiculous what he's done.
Yeah, exactly. So but you think he'd develop as a leader or something in that squad and stuff as well, which is even more baffling as to why he gets phased out.
There is also, I mean, you'll know this better than me, but is there not a case of some people, like, you have different personalities in a dressing room, so you can be a leader in one way or a leader in another way, and you don't have to be the vocal guy.
No, I don't mean the vocal, but I just feel like if you have somebody like Phil Foden, he could be doing it in his own way, but it's just baffling that he's out of the side, because you want that sort of experience to be in the side, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, the other side of this as well is he had a bad season last season. He had injuries, he had problems. This season, he has been in and out of the side, but actually when you take his career on a grand level, for most of his career, he's been in the team and he's been doing really well. So he's just like, if he gets back to that level, then he is the leader in that way.
I think he's probably suffering from the fact that when you come through an academy, it's easier to leave you out. And you'll know this, it's easier to leave you out when you've come through. Phil Foden will probably, to demand that respect.
Is he not over that though now?
To play, to demand that respect to play every game. It'd probably be better going to an Arsenal or somewhere and then he's not come through the academy. You've been brought into the club. it is easier to be left out, and you don't get treated the same when you come to the academy. I think that's a fact. When you come into first team football, if you look at, I can go to the United players, and I spoke with Guy Neville a few weeks ago on it. They never got paid anywhere near the same what players who they brought in and get paid. And I think that's the same with every club. You get treated a little bit different, and unfortunately, it looks like that's what's happening to Phil at the minute.
It's like when you've said all those players about title winning, like 3 or 4 of DNA, not many have gone like what Phil has, have they? Do you know, like they've had a career, they've stayed in the team right the way through, where Phil's had that
the
up
only
and
one I
down.
can sort of think of, like, really.
No, but Giggsy was only when he got older, wasn't it? When he got into his 30s, that he was in and out the team.
He just dropped into centre mid, didn't he? No problem.
Just bossed it against Real Madrid at 39.
God, he didn't have a bad tackle against him as well.
he had a slight change in his career path as I caught him.
Because of Pep Guardiola's future, how much will that uncertainty affect the players? You've been there when you know a manager's leaving or you don't know what's happening. Will that be getting in?
It'll be, some players will want him to leave, some players want to stay. It depends on if you're in the team or not. And that's the same with any manager. But I hope he stays, because I just think for the Premier League he's brilliant, and you'd want the best managers in the Premier League, and he's set a benchmark over the last 10 years for everyone else to try and...
Well, what about with the charges? If the charges come out and they get punished, will he leave or will he stay?
I think if they're guilty, I think he stays.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive, like, you lot think I'm going to go, so I'm going to, like, if City are in the Championship, City are in League One, League Two, whatever, I'm doing it. Like, you said I wouldn't do it, I'm doing it. That's the sort of person I think he is.
There's no chance. League One and League Two. That's not happening anyway, is it?
I think he's more likely to leave if they're not guilty.
No, I can't see him stay. Brown, you'll be in this manager. League One, Two.
I'll have a go, won't we?
Be his player.
You are, of course, talking about the 115 charges aimed at them for the alleged financial Premier League rule breaches. The club, of course, strongly deny any wrongdoing. Is it concerning? Is it, because it feels like it's something that's thrown at the club every time, well, all the time.
Whatever happens. That's kind of the mood music around it now. It maybe was concerning when it first happened, but it's been going on for so long. I think so many of us just live with it now. I don't think, like, supporting a football team, if they're guilty and punished, if they're not guilty and not punished, then I'm still at the Etihad with my season ticket, and I'm still setting up microphones on a Saturday night at 9 o'clock to record about the game, and losing my social life by making podcasts. So it's still, like, it's just the story, and it's the story of supporting the team. It doesn't like, on the fundamental side of it, doesn't really affect me. The idea of giving up on City because they're found guilty and like, I've had enough now because they're not winning. That's like that. No football fan does that. The people I would feel sorry for if they're found guilty are the players that won it, because they still had to go out there and do the job. They still, like, whether City should have been able to spend that money or not, the players still had to go and win the games. And
so you feel sorry for the players?
Well, because
what do you think the players will?
Well, because if you're...
Wait, the players are just going to go, we've won it, it's in the bag and done.
Yeah, it won't get taken off them.
The thing is, I don't think there's going to be any repercussions.
Well, but then it won't get taken off them, but I wouldn't want a Premier League medal. Just say, for instance, it got took, the one on goal difference, that got took off them and we got given a medal. You wouldn't want that, because you wouldn't feel like you've earned it. And whatever's happened at board level or whatever, that's down to them. If they get punished, they get punished because of that. But from I see it as an ex-player, from the player's point of view, who've gone out and worked and won the league in a legitimate way from that point of view. Yeah. It's not their fault.
No, I'm saying, like, I don't think anything's going to happen, but I don't think even if they get found guilty or whatever, that it's going to take those feelings that they had away from them. Do you know what I mean? They've still got those memories, they've still got those nights that they're going to cherish, but it's just not.
Do you just want it done so that these kind of debates don't keep going on? Because it must be constant. People like Kay.
I'm all for getting it done, and I'm all for the not guilty verdict when that comes out.
It won't be done for another 10 years.
Yeah,
that's not getting done.
I can't believe it's still going.
Feels like it's been going forever, isn't it?
I can. I mean, when you've got the best lawyers in the world, it's easy to make things like that delayed and like why is it when it's Leicester City it happens within a fortnight?
The club don't want this delayed. They want it. Yeah. They want it done as well. I think that's the point of it.
I tell you what, let's talk about the football a bit more, shall we? Let's bring it back round to the end of the season and how you think this is all going to play out on the pitch.
So, I think this City side could win the title. I think at the moment.
Don't sit on that fence again.
But I think at the moment, I think it's Arsenal's, and I think Arsenal are in the position. They're in a commanding position. If you were to tell me right now that Arsenal lose their heads and finish second, it's happened before. If you were to tell me that City to put a run together, it's happened before. I'd believe that. But right now, as it stands, I think City have got a few issues that they need to sort out in terms of second halves, getting complete 90-minute performances and getting results over the line. And that could just be the difference between City winning the title and not winning the title. So I'm optimistic that they could do it, but I think they need to improve between now and the end of the season to do it.
Yeah, I think a big factor in it is going to be if they meet in the Champions League. I think that emotion around them games, the Carabao Cup final, the Champions League games, if that's the case, then the game at the Etihad, the emotion around them games and what that'll bring, whoever comes out on top on them, I think will win the league.
What's good in it? Man United, Arsenal, and now Manchester City, Man United. Bit on the fence, or have you got a preference
On
who wins it?
I prefer Arsenal to win it.
You prefer
Definitely,
Arsenal to win it?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
He's also hung his hat the whole season on Arsenal.
I played for Man United for 13 years.
Look, isn't that the biggest rivalry though?
Yeah.
You look back and you sort of go, right, when they were taking
No,
it, I'd be
so
like, I'd have a bit of
for me,
hatred
anyone
there
but
for
Liverpool.
you, rather than...
So Liverpool obviously is the one who wouldn't want to win it, and then it'd be City. Listen, I respect both clubs. Respect Liverpool, respect City, respect Arsenal. But
Arsenal fans are
they can't
unbearable.
lose.
That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I could say the same about you lot at times.
No, but
Arsenal
Arsenal
can't
fans,
lose it
man,
now,
oh
surely.
mate.
Arsenal should never lose it.
We were 7 points clear. I think it was 4 games to go. I think, and we were 7 points clear, and we lost it.
Anything's possible, man.
And you've won it before.
Yeah,
That's the difference where they
there's
haven't.
13 games left. 13, 14
Brownie,
games.
who wins it?
I'll say Arsenal at this moment in time. Arsenal. One word is not Arsenal, but I'll happily celebrate when they don't.
About 15 months.
I'll put all the pressure on Arsenal just so they bottle it.
So you're saying Arsenal?
I'm with you.
Who wins it? One word. 2 if it's Man City, because that's 2 words.
I think Arsenal just.
2 words.
I'm 60-40 to Arsenal right now.
Gosh, there's not much confidence. I almost feel like that's maybe reverse mind games. Okay then.
I mean, Arsenal aren't going to see this and go, well, David thinks that Arsenal are going to win it, so we're under pressure now.
You never know with Mikel Arteta. He might clip this up and put it in the dressing room. He's like, that's what they think about you guys. Look.
They think you can do it.
Will Pep Guardiola be in charge at the start of next season, Kay? Of Man City?
If City win a trophy, probably not.
So no. Do you think they're going
If they win a trophy, that's the caveat.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he's a sick individual.
Because he's a sick individual, he'll never say no.
Yes.
I think he will. Yeah.
I would have said no all day long, but I'm not sure who the replacement is. That's the worry.
That was my next question.
That is the only concern. I don't know who can go and
We're
replace him
sitting
at
next
this
to
moment in time.
Xabi Alonso's
Otherwise he's
agent
going.
because he brings him up in every podcast.
No, he's going to Liverpool.
He's going to Liverpool,
He's going
apparently.
to Liverpool.
But he wasn't there, was he? Do you know?
Yeah.
It's Maresca.
It's different.
It's tough.
I think if he does go, I think they have to go and get company. For me, I think he knows the club. He's been successful at Bayern Munich. Obviously, it's not that difficult to be successful with Bayern, but he's been successful in a similar way. It looks like he's learned from how Pep's played.
And it's a well-trodden path, isn't it? Bayern Munich to City.
Yeah.
So it's the
I
previous
Is that
one
who
did
you'd
that.
want as a fan?
I would not be disappointed if Vincent Kompany was unveiled as the next manager.
Okay, who do you think? I know Alonso's going to Liverpool. You seem to know all these managerial...
I hope it's Steve Bruce or someone, to be honest with you. Like, I just couldn't. I couldn't care less who's their manager as long as they're not successful.
I think we'll end the show there, shall we?
Vinny would have, he'd have the confidence to go and do so well. He'd work
On so many
holic,
levels,
he'd
it
just
makes
take it
sense,
right
doesn't it?
on. It just might be one. That's the only thing. Bayern give him a new deal.
Imagine it was someone
it's
like
just where
Simeone, a complete style change.
So they'll know exactly where they want to be. They're very organised.
I think City as a club are very well run. So they've probably got a short list of about 4 or 5 managers that they're constantly looking at, and they know who's available and how much they can get them from.
Pep will probably choose next manager. If Pep is going, he'll probably be part of the process.
Do you think? I don't think that.
To choose the next one.
I don't think that's wise.
But they've also got to avoid, haven't
Staying
they?
there like Sir Alex.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to say. They've also
Noisy.
got to be careful to avoid what happened at Manchester United and at Arsenal to an extent when Wenger left.
Yeah, but I just think in terms of Pep, I don't know, but I think he looks himself as a bit of a teacher, and he'll want to bring in someone. He'll want to leave. He's been at the club for 10 years. He'll want to leave the club in a good place, and I think
that's part of the reason he signed that deal last season. Is he said, he said that so many. The form was that bad. He was like, I can't leave at the end of this deal. I need to fix this before I go. Maybe if it never gets fixed, he keeps signing deals.
And whatever happens, it's not going to be dull at Manchester City over the next few months. That is for sure. That's where we'll leave it. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. We'll be back again on Monday. Reminder, you can watch The Wayne Rooney Show on the BBC iPlayer or on the BBC Sport YouTube, or you can listen on BBC Sound. See you next time.